Last but not least.
And welcome inside the Backstage Pass, of course, Day 2 coverage, CRS 2023 live at the Omni Hotel, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey, Honky, Tonk, Texas, and Gentleman Spirits. And, of course, actually, we got one more after this. Something else just popped up outside. You walk out, more people find you, and you pull it in. So we did say the best. He is one of the best out there. Country music right now. Walker Montgomery joining us here on the show. What's up, man?
Man, appreciate you having me, man.
Appreciate you.
Good to have you on here. Yes.
Well, I got to start at the top here. Because
Nolensville, Kentucky.
No, there is a Nolensville, Kentucky. Though,
okay, wait, no, Nicholasville, sorry. Nicholasville, Kentucky. There's a Nolensville, Tennessee.
There is that too.
There's that too.
Yeah.
One of my highlights was I got to interview your dad.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
We hadn't even on the show, but I will say this. Just 90s iconic country star that he was. You obviously
growing up
grew up around
that.
it your whole life.
Yeah.
Did you kind of know at an early age you wanted to turn this into a full-time career?
Yeah.
Or did it take a while?
You know, it actually took a while, and I honestly credit that to my parents. And, you know, growing up, they were, one, supportive in everything that I did, you know, but they surrounded me with great things, sports, acting, whatever it was. And, but in the back of my mind, I always knew that I really kind of wanted to do this. But it wasn't late until, you know, even senior year in high school when I really started picking up the guitar and quit putting down the football and stuff, you know. But yeah, it took a second. But I think finding my own path makes it more special.
That's awesome. And now we have over 4 million. That's an M.
Yeah.
Million streams on Spotify alone with your self-penned song "Simple Town," which is about your hometown, which I messed up earlier. But please talk to us about your hometown and how it was so cool to be able to put out a song.
Well,
honoring that.
I'll tell you what, Nicholasville, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was a wonderful place to grow up.
What's the population?
I'd say, you know, Lexington is the main town, county up, Fayette County. And Nicholasville's in Jessamine County, so I'd say it's about 30,000.
Okay.
But very sprawled out.
That's still a small town.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And but it was just such a wonderful place to grow up. It's all I obviously live down here now, but it's where my heart is. And to be able to, one, have a debut song about Nicholasville is special to me. But I think it related not only to the people in Nicholasville, but everybody who listened to it who grew up in a similar way.
Yeah.
And it's just, with that song, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be on any stage. It's just blessed me in countless ways.
That's really cool.
This EP you guys put out, you mentioned that, My Hometown's Fault. It created that buzz out there Kirsten was talking about too, but Rust was really good off of there. I loved Blue Eyed Blue Jean Gone, which I thought was another fantastic song. Again, you're continuing your tradition of what your dad laid that foundation. So many great artists coming after you now. But it's just what I love down home. I was telling an artist today, 90s country started to make a comeback with several artists here in this city, in this town, and in my state of Texas. So it's starting really to get that feel again.
Yeah.
I guess two-parter. Why is that important? And two, you're just continuing those traditions on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it's important to me. I think that from the time that I released a song like Simple Town and every release since then, whether it's a single or an EP, you can kind of hear my growth and evolution go towards just more traditional. And having that 90s root and, you know, really being grounded in that, it's easy for me to do. It's what I grew up listening to. It's what I believe my voice sounds better on, and it's what I believe I'm most sincere about, you know, when I choose songs or write songs. And so that is why it's important to me. And not just because Dad was big in the 90s and had so many great hits and so many great songs, but it's me. It's very unique. It's very unique to me. It's how I feel, how I want to sound. And it's just a special sound. I mean, it didn't take me long when I moved to Nashville to figure out I don't sound good on a pop track. You know, I mean, it's just true.
Talk to us a little bit more about what were some of those people that you were listening to that led you to be able to want to continue this on, other than your dad?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, obviously, Dad is my number one. I mean, I don't even think he knows it, but
it just makes my heart happy hearing that.
He's just, I mean, his voice is like butter. It's amazing. I mean, hell, I get teared up just even talking about it. But I mean, Tracy Lawrence, all the guys out back there. Tracy Lawrence is probably my number two. Just because great songs and sincere songs, relatable songs. It's a great period of country music to grow up listening to and learn from. you know, because you're so influenced by what you grow up at a young age listening to.
Oh yeah.
But there's so many guys back there and gals. Reba's one of them. I mean, my dad's first tour was, I believe it was Bill Engvall, Dad, Brooks and Dunn, and Reba, and back in like 1992. And he's got the most respect for Reba in any of the business. But there's so many people back then that just had all these great songs. It was great to be influenced by them.
I love that.
Off that EP too, Out of Nowhere caught a lot of people's attention, no doubt, and it's one of them that you listen to too. You're going to have a fun time with it too at the same time. But
Yeah.
special meaning behind that.
Oh, absolutely. And I wish I was a writer on that, but Morgan Wong was actually a writer on that.
Oh, that's cool.
But I'll never forget until the day I die. I was driving to the studio that day with Dallas Davidson, who's my old producer and just a fantastic guy. I mean, I can't say enough kind words about him. Just an awesome person. Gave me my first chance in Nashville, and he sent me that song. And I was literally pulling into the studio, and I started listening to it. And I texted. We had a little group text, and I texted back all caps, "Yes." And but that goes back to, you know, the hometown songs and just kind of being rooted where I'm from. I'm proud of where I'm from, and I'm luckily able to show that in the songs that I release, whether it's Out of Nowhere, Simple Town, My Hometown's Fault, either, you know, any of them.
I love that. So much notoriety as just a newcomer landing artist to watch in 2022 by Country Now and Music Mayhem magazine. When you have stuff like that happen, obviously you do music for you, but when stuff like that happens on the outside, that's got to feel good. What do you do to celebrate this kind of stuff?
Well, I celebrate by trying to find the next song, but it is special, you know, when you hear somebody, you do a show or you get a DM on Instagram or something like that, Facebook Messenger, whatever it is, and somebody has some kind words about your song, saying, "Hey, that song, you know, I was in a bad place. That song changed my day.
Yeah.
I was ready to drink, and that song put me over the edge, you know, or whatever, you know, whatever it is. It makes you realize that what you're doing is really having an impact on some people, and that's what it's all about. You know, if I release a song and it gains me one fan, then I did my job. You know, not well, but you know, I still did it. You know.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Dad. I'm going to give a little props here to the other Uncle Eddie, because
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: those guys banging late '90s, early 2000s, what they did with Montgomery Gentry, if you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Uncle Eddie right there, and it hit me hard, as most do when you lose a legend in the business, but a hell of a songwriter in Troy Gentry. I mean,
Yeah.
growing up around that, and what your uncle's been able to do for these years, like your dad did, just being around that too, and seeing the way Montgomery Gentry and Eddie works himself as a top artist out there and put together a dynamic duo. You growing up around that too as well. I mean, your Uncle Eddie's still going strong.
Oh yeah, man. And obviously Troy was a great guy. I mean, I'll never forget, you know, the day he died. I was driving home from my short stint in college. I was there for 9 weeks, and we had a little show going on, the Danville Barbecue Fest, I believe it was, and I just got the call and
fun.
you know, had to pull it. Well, it was supposed to be, but
then
but it, you know, that was a terrible day. But watching them growing up, you know, you definitely, and this helped me in my band as well. You get a sense of, it's not just up there having a good time, which you do, but it's a sense of teamwork too. And whether that's Troy Gentry and Eddie, or me being the lead guy and me having band guys behind me. I mean, one of my best buds, my TM, who's also my bass player, Nick Bernard. I mean, we're like a dynamic duo. You know, I know what he's thinking. He knows what I'm thinking on stage, and when something goes wrong, which unfortunately happens, you know, a lot for all artists, we're able to really, you know, pick it apart and fix it right there. But there's a sense of teamwork that I was lucky enough to watch and learn from Eddie and Troy.
What are you most excited about now? Moving on, I know there's probably, I always say, one of my expressions of the show, musicians never rest on their laurels. New music kind of pushing forward. Still early part of 23. I mean, I know live shows are kicking off again in several different parts of the country, which is great. Full steam ahead with that. Playing live, recording new music, putting out new music, give me a little bit of what's kind of forecasted for 23.
Yeah, well, I released Russ last year, and it's been over a year now since I released music. You know, we really focused on hitting the road last year, and it just kind of slipped by us, to be honest with you, on releasing music. But I've got a song called Work to Do coming out late
Sounds
April,
fun.
early May, and it's as I mentioned earlier, from Simple Town on, every single song has just kind of gotten more traditional, and I've been able to grow as an artist. And maybe I didn't even recognize it back then, but looking back, I can see the steps. And I've got a producer, Bart Butler, who's producing me now, and we're really on the same page with the music that we want to do. And so
That's good.
this is going to be kind of the intro and saying, hey, we found exactly what we want to do. We found exactly what we want to say, the sound that we want. And here
now
it
we
is.
got work to do.
Now we got work to do.
I love that.
That was pretty good.
I love that. Coming out. Okay, so for fun, we get to do rapid fire here on the Backstage Pass.
All right, last favorite show or last show to binge watch?
Man, I'll tell you what. I'm watching a show that I found by myself somehow. It's called Wings. And it's early, like 91, I believe, is when it started. And it's based in the little Cape Cod airport, and they're all in this little terminal, and it's just a little sitcom. But it's really a funny show. And one of the gals in it, her name is Crystal. I can't remember her last name, but she dated Billy Dean for a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my binge watch show right now.
I love it. All right, favorite spot in Nashville to go get food?
Where I used to live down in the Gulch, there's a little place called the pub. It's like a little British pub, and that's definitely my little spot. I'd go watch games there or whatever.
I like that too. Yeah. All right, let's say Walker Montgomery was signed to a pro contract to play any major sport. I know the sport background. NFL or any sport out there, NFL?
Yeah, I'd probably say NFL. I'm a broad dude, and I really enjoyed football when I was playing. I mean, it changed my life, and helped me grow as a person. Just in middle school, high school, and all that stuff. So I'd definitely say NFL.
Love it. All right, favorite food. It's International Women's Month, so like favorite food that your mom makes, meal, home cooking.
Mama's a great cook, but my Nene, my grandma, is the main cook, and she does for my birthday every year. She does a sweet potato pie, and so I'd have to.
That's your go-to birthday cake.
That's my go-to birthday cake.
Birthday
I'd have
pie.
to say that.
Birthday pie, yeah. That sounds good. I don't think I've ever tried anything. I don't think I've ever tried anything like that.
Oh, you need to try it. I'll get her to bring in pie.
She's good there too.
That's so Southern.
All right, I want to get a projection from you now because all this craziness looks like Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets and all this other stuff happening.
Whoa.
NFL movement. So, coming off the last couple of Super Bowls, what Pat Mahomes has done and what he's meant to the NFL to 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls. And I know it's early before the NFL draft kicks off, and of course free agency is a madhouse right now. With this shifting in paradigm of free agency and that kind of thing, is there an early forecast for a team that you could say right now, even who may have played well like Jacksonville toward the end of last year, that could be projected to be in contention for a Super Bowl title next year?
Well, I'm a Browns fan, so every year we say it's going to be our year. I think we're going to make the playoffs. I don't think we're going to win the Super Bowl, but my projection is we're going to be better. But my projection is that Will Levis is going to be number 2 in the draft. I'm a Kentucky boy too.
Kentucky boy, Will Levis, no doubt about it. Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, your top quarterbacks this year for the NFL draft. Man, this has been a lot of fun too as well. And man, I look forward to getting you back on when this stuff comes out. Walker Montgomery here,
holding down our country music over here.
Holding it down. EP, get it out there across all the digital platforms. Russ, make sure you guys check it out and check Walker out on socials. One more to come. We finish out day 2 of CRS 2023 here, the Omni Hotel, presented by Gentle Ben Spirits, Honky, Tonk, Texas, and our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. And surprise guest, but I ran into her in the lobby. She'll be here in just about 2 seconds. We'll see you. Stay tuned. More to come here. CRS 2023. One more to wrap up day 2.